Okay. Proportional, non-proportional. A proportional relationship, a proportional linear relationship, when x is 0 and the y is also 0. So table and graph. When the y-intercept is 0. So yesterday we said that direct variation equation was y equals kx, where there is no b, there's no y-intercept. Okay? So, and I was saying that that is proportional because there's no y-intercept. Okay? Y equals mx plus b, your slope-intercept form, that can be proportional as long as your b is 0. Okay, so if it's an equation, there's no y-intercept, or the y-intercept is 0. So for example, y equals 2x plus 0, or y equals 2x. Okay? If you have a table, you want to see the x value of 0 and the y value of 0. So 0, 0. And then think about a graph. What is 0, 0 on the graph? The origin's right in the center, right? So if you have 0, 0 on your table, that means you have a point at the origin. So that makes it proportional because there's 0, 0. So then same thing with the graph. If your graph goes through the origin, if it goes through 0, 0, then it's proportional. So looking at some not proportional, not normal. When x is 0, but the y is not 0. So when the y-intercept is anything but 0, which would be y equals mx plus b, where b actually has a value that's not just 0. So an example equation, 3x minus 5, because there's this little extra at the end. Okay, so that's an example of an equation. If it's a graph, look and see where your slope crosses the y-axis. If it's anywhere besides the origin, then it's non-proportional. Okay, so it's not proportional because it doesn't go through the origin. It goes through at like -4. Then for a table, you'll know it's non-proportional if you don't have 0, 0. So where we have an x value of 0, we have a y value of 1. So that would mean our y-intercept is 1 instead of 0. So it's non-proportional. Okay, so the first example, determine if the graph is proportional or non-proportional. What do we think? Does it start, if the origin is here, does it start at the origin or go through the origin? No. No, so then it has to be non-proportional. Okay, the next example, determine if the following equation is proportional or non-proportional. So y equals 0.75x, what do you think? Proportional, why is it proportional though? Because there's no y-intercept, there's no plus something, it's plus 0. So that would be proportional. And on word problems, when we look at those in a second, that plus something is usually like a fee or an extra charge. Then the next table, determine if the table is proportional or non-proportional. What do we think? Non-proportional, and why do we think it's non-proportional? Good, because when my x value is 0, my y value is something else. If that was 0, then it would be proportional, but since it's 3, it's another number. Non-proportional. Determine if the following equation is proportional or non-proportional. So y equals 8.5x plus 3.
Non-proportional.
Non-proportional, and what makes it non-proportional?
Plus 3.
The plus 3. Non-proportional. And it's that plus 3 that makes it non-proportional. It's that extra. So if it was on a graph, it would start at 3 instead of 0. Then the graph, determine if the graph is proportional or non-proportional. Proportional, why? It starts at 0, 0, or the origin. And the very last one, is this table proportional or non-proportional? Non. I found 0, but the corresponding y value was 5. It wasn't 0, so that makes it non-proportional.